Hey there, my fellow builders, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to V Rising, Episode 3, Laying the Foundation for a Vampire Castle. So we want to be making one of these lovely stone grinders, and I'm going to need to make some room in my inventory so that I can actually grab the materials for it. And then we're also likely going to have a lot of other refined metals and the like, just from having left these sawmills and smelter going when I was out. But here is grinder 1, grinder 2. And I'm going to want to split my stone between them. Wherever I put my stone, there it is. Alright, talking about the book that we got before. So here's the Ring of the Duskwatcher and the Shadewalker leggings. 2 books that we picked up. So if we take a look at the workbench that we got here, the Ring of the Duskwatcher is a attack speed ring with some spell power. And then the Shadewalker leggings is a set, which gives crit strike, or at least the pants do. And then the full gear set gives you movement speed and gear level +1. Great. So, talking about castle design. Once you have the ability to put foundations down, there are a bunch of different types of rooms that you can build. So, if you take a look at, like, a tannery, for instance, and mouse over this button, it will say that the cost for reducing materials, there's a 25% reduction in cost if it is in a tailor flooring room. And similarly, the furnace is a forge, the sawmills is workshop, the workbench is workshop, the grinders are workshop, the research is not anything, but my larger point is a lot of your refining and crafting has a specific room it wants to be in, and there's a big bonus to putting it in that room, whether it's a speed or... So if it's confined within the castle room, it gains a crafting or refinement speed, and then if it's with the correct type of flooring, it gains a reduction in cost. And these are really important concepts because the reduction cost could be huge when it comes to trying to make certain things. Now that I have the copper from the mines, it also would be a pretty good idea for me to make myself like a set of copper tools. So I'm going to do 1 of each. And let's go ahead and put away our old weapons, which are not going to be needed any longer. And we'll be organizing soon enough. I'll get there. So gear level, as a result of this, has gone from 21 to 23. Copper sword is better. And in this case, it also comes with a special ability, which is Whirlwind, which is unlocked when you start getting copper weapons. And there's a third weapon skill when we have iron or higher quality weapons, which will unlock with iron, which is not going to be for a little while, but... And here's the axe. And I'm making the copper tools because it will help us defeat enemies, but also it will help us clear out the space for the castle to grow, and then acquire the resources for the castle to grow. Both are critically important for long-term success. So the axe does sort of like a dual slash, and then speeds up your attack rate for like a second afterwards. And then the mace does a giant ground slam area of effect. And these are the, so those are the 3 abilities that you'll unlock early on. And I personally like to just clear out the land as much as possible so that I don't have any trees and walls blocking me as I'm trying to grow the castle. So, build a basic castle room. So my initial castle room is going to be nice and cheap, just to be able to fulfill the tutorial requirements and to unlock the castle waygate, which is the castle teleporter. But if you want me to continue building castle stuff, after this tutorial element, I'll be having you guys vote on what my priority is. Whether it's building, resource grinding, hunting, etc. Making sure to keep the sawmills and grinders well fed. And at this point, we've got a little bit of stone. So we should be able to start the castle structure. So, if we back out to the build menu, rough floors do not count for buildings, whereas castle flooring does. So we're going to put...
I cannot build.
For the initial structure, I'm just going to do a simple 3x3. And then we can grow from there. The Treant's back. I'm kind of making the Treant do the mining for me. But I'm not going to really be able to build a castle with this thing in my backyard being annoying, so... Even though it's like boss difficulty compared to my strength, he's got to die. Well, that was annoying, but he's dead. And this is one of the disadvantages of building up north. If I built, like, in this zone, for instance, I would not end up with, like, a Treant, because building up north means we chose harder zones. Alright, so we have the basic structure for 3x3 laid out. I'm going to get rid of the palisades, because palisades aren't real walls, so they don't count. Refunding them. And then, let's build... So there's a door or a ramp up this area. So we'll build a wall there, or a door there. And again, this is just the starter structure. This is not the extent of what I intend to build in the long run. And just grabbing as much material that has been processed to be able to use it. And there we go. Now with all the walls and roof overhead, we have got an inside zone. So this area is inside, and if we take a look at the furnace, for instance, and put doors on the entryways that we have. Forgot about that part. Confined in the castle room. That should honestly be triggered, but whatever. Doesn't matter. So, completing the build of the castle, we now have the ability to build a castle wicket, which allows us to teleport back to home if we had gem dust, grave dust, and blood essence. But at this point, I'm going to have you guys decide what my priority is. So here's the poll right above my head. And we can continue to base build and improve the base. Either improve gear for selves or servants. Obviously, I don't have any servants yet. Fetch needed resources for projects, exploration, hunt a new V blood, other, or my choice. Have you guys decide that. In terms of the types of foundations I have, I only have regular castle flooring. I don't have anything bigger or better. Yeah. It looks like I'm going to go with, I'm going to call this one a little early. We're going to improve the base a little bit. So what I'd like to do is I would like to build a nice initial structure, widening our starter room, and then start to plan for the specific workshops that we will need. So I don't have any workshop flooring yet, like alchemy flooring, workshop flooring, forge flooring, anything like that. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be separating the buildings out, or the crafters and refiners, into those subcategories. So when we unlock the flooring, all I have to do is hot swap the flooring into the room, starting to lay our base out with the flooring in mind ahead of time. So that's my plan. Which means spending a little bit of time buying and building the new walls around. So for now, the 4 cardinal directions will have open doors. Just to make it a little bit easier. And I'm going to work towards building walls around like a central 5x5. Actually, I might do a 4x4 for the heart of the castle. So right now, the resource I'm missing to continue building is stone brick, which is no problem. So we've got... yeah, let's do a 4x4. And it's going to be really messy until I have the resources needed for seeing the project to full fruition. Which is par for the course. All right. Now that we have a slightly larger footprint, this will allow me to put things like the teleporter in the center of the base, which is just more convenient than having it off on one edge, somewhere hard to gain access to. So I'm going to move the castle heart, like, maybe one of these corners? Because I don't necessarily need it in the center of the room. There we go. And underneath the castle heart was not flooring. So in the center of the base is where I intend to make the teleporter. Although I don't believe I have the resources for the teleporter yet. Let me check on gem dust. I have 14 gem dust. I can probably grind half of my miststone. To get a little bit more gem dust. Oh, not that. And then the other materials I would need for the waygate would be grave dust. So grave dust, if you're wondering, I might actually have some. It's from either killing higher level undead or a refined resource as well. And I don't believe I have any grave dust on me. So I'm not going to worry about the waygate just yet. Because if we take a look at the grinder here, the recipe for creating grave dust is locked. And if we take a look, it's locked killing Goreswine the Ravager, which it's a formidable enemy. We could probably take him down now, but we might want to wait for just when he's easier. But I did end up getting the gem dust required. So we're going to leave this this main floor here mostly open, because the teleporter is a really large object, as you can see. So it's going to go like here, and then we'll have like our coffin and maybe castle throne and things like that around. So then the other part of this is to build, at least for right now, within the scope of what we're doing, I want to build like a mock zone for some of the other facilities that we have. So this area here will be our workshop. I'm probably going to have it be larger than it needs to be, but, you know, might as well. And that way, once we unlock the workshop flooring, we'll just be able to floor this entire area and gain the benefit of a workshop immediately. So, I think what I'll do is I'll build the workshop now, and then if you guys continue to vote for it, I'll build other sections later on. And then with the workshop, I'm also going to want to include material storage and things like that.
This will not work.
So we're missing stone bricks. There we go. We have in-confined castle room. So we have half the bonus, not the sexy part. The sexy part is the reduction in cost. But this can be our workshop. And then with the workshop, let's go ahead and put in a small material storage. And I want to put it like pretty close to where the door is, because this is a box we're going to interact with a lot. So now that we have small material storage, let's go ahead and collect all of everything that we have in these smaller chests and start sorting them appropriately. Putting all the material storage in the materials box so that it is where it should be. Which is basically all that we've done. So the other storages we have is for gems, if I had 6 planks. And then the vampire lockbox is like a player PvP safe storage, which I really don't need to worry about given the scope of this series being that I don't have any PvP. So I'm not going to worry about that one at all. But having a gem box is kind of nice because you have a lot of different gems and that should help keep our things organized. Now the weapons I'm not using, I'm just going to dump in some of these boxes. But I'm not going to do any organization for the rest of these boxes for now. I'm just going to be throwing whatever in them until we unlock themed boxes for the other types. And I think while I'm doing this, I will create one other type of room. I'll create like a forge room. So this area here will be our forge. Actually, it's pretty small, so maybe this will be Taylor? No, I'll put the forge here. I can always fudge things around later on, reducing the size of the workshop if need be. So after I build like a micro forge room, what do you want me to do next? Continue doing base building, or pivot to something else? It's also worth noting that you can have multiple floors. So there are stairs. So if you build stairs, you can have a second floor, which leads to like a real second floor or like a balcony or however else you want to lay it out. It's up to the player. So in the forge, we'll put the smithy that we got, the furnace, and then likewise, let's go ahead and have a castle entrance between these, because both the forge and the workshop draw from the same sort of material storage. So maybe I'll put the material storage here outside of both so that it's just easily accessible. Alright, then the only other thing I want to do is to stick some doors on the outside of this so that nothing can like come waltzing in. For that I need some planks. Okay, we're enclosed. It's a very simple base, but, you know, it will get the job done. Putting away all of the rest of the resources I've got, and then we can go out, and it looks like improving gear for self and servants seems to be the popular option, so we'll start working on that. Seems to me like I need a few more small chests. And don't worry, like, as the base building progresses, I will be organizing properly. I'm just not doing that now. Now, if I wanted more vermin salve, rat, plant fiber, and bones, let's craft a few of those, as they're like low tier makeshift healing, which is not bad to have a whole lot of. Seven. That'll work. Okay. Taking a look at the improved gear for self and servants. Definitely the popular option. So because I've unlocked copper and copper ingots, we have access to a new tier of gear. Or rather, we need to jump to leather and coarse thread for the Nightstalker set. So if you hit spacebar, you can track the recipe. So Nightstalker turns into Shadewalker. So if we make Nightstalker set, it can be upgraded to the Shadewalker set. So in terms of what we're tracking here, we need leather and coarse thread. So let's pick up all the leather we can grab. And I don't know if I have enough leather for too many of these sets. And then all the coarse thread. And coarse thread is something that we're likely going to have to farm off of bosses or in zones. So the leggings can be upgraded to Shadewalker, so I'm going to prioritize those. Oh, wow, actually, we can make a whole Nightstalk set right off the bat, because I have enough resources. That's pretty good. And then my old gear is probably going to be obsolete, but in case I want it for some reason, which I can't picture why, I'm just going to keep it in the small chest for now. And it looks to me like with 8 copper ingots, we'll be able to get... Oh, and I have exactly 8 copper ingots. Perfect. We'll be able to get the Shadewalker. So the full Nightstalker set is not a set. As you can see, it's missing that set bonus, but the Shadewalker does have a set bonus, so there's no real disadvantage going from Nightstalk to Shade. So now my gear level's 28. One thing I am missing is the Traveler's Wraps, which needs 4 cloth, 4 leather. So I've got the leather. Let's see if I have the cloth. I have only 1 cloth. So if I wanted more cloth, I could try to farm for it in harder zones. But if you're trying to figure out how to make a certain resource, often, if you haven't interacted with it yet, it's a result of having to kill an enemy that you've not yet found. So, in my case, like, cloth is way higher level than I can have access to. It's produced at a loom, and a loom is beyond my comprehension. So, I'm not going to bother with that. So let's cancel that. It's something to have on the back burner, if we have access to it. The Ring of the Dust Watcher would be great for gear level as well, but I don't have a Greater Blood Essence yet. So that's another back burner. One thing I could do is to head to merchants and see if they have a book for buying a better weapon. Generally speaking, upgrading your weapon is one of the most cost-effective ways to get stronger, because your gear level helps you match the enemy, but your weapon is like your weapon is what does the damage. So, with that in mind, let's head to the Vampire Waygate to the southeast and see about trying to buy us a book for a higher level weapon. Ooh. An Unsullied Heart. Those are pretty important. Oh, and Brew of Ferocity? My lord, what died here? Got my attention. Oh, it's probably these militia killed something big. Peekaboo! Ow, you hit me. Yeah, serves me right, I guess. Alright, so I'm going to teleport to the Eastern Waygate and check the shady dealers to see if there's anything I can buy off of them that can make me stronger. So the shady dealers here are NPCs that will sell you stuff. Fair warning, you can hit them and they will fight back. But they don't really care that you're a vampire. So I brought 90 copper coins with me. And I'm going to have you guys decide whether I get the sword, longbow, or mace. Those are the ones that are being offered right now. So, what weapon to buy? And this isn't so much the weapon as the blueprint for the weapon. Sword, longbow, or mace. So, I haven't actually made myself a bow yet, but I could always make a bow and then upgrade it. So the merciless stuff is like the upgraded copper stuff. So a merciless copper sword is the upgraded version of the copper sword. And then while we're also here, I'm not going to have enough for the forge flooring because I won't have enough copper coin. But I could buy the Shadewalker gloves as well to start to get the Shadewalker set. So I'm going to buy Shadewalker gloves. So I have 2 pieces of Shadewalker. And the second piece of Shadewalker here will give me a 8% movement speed bonus, which is pretty nice, even just having the 2. And looks like we're going with the Merciless Copper Sword. Cool. Thank you for voting. And I should be on the lookout for copper coins. So that I can fill out my, my blueprint knowledge faster. So once I have this stuff done, I'm going to have you guys vote for the next priority. And if you're wondering, there are 5 V-Bloods that are like roughly my level. Not that I'm trying to influence the poll, but just letting you know that there's plenty of V-Bloods now to hunt that are appropriate for my gear level. And there will be even more appropriate if I do manage to craft the Merciless stuff and the Shadewalker stuff. So here we go. Merciless Sword and Shadewalker gloves. So if I want the Merciless Sword, I need 2 crude sapphire, 12 whetstone, and 4 leather. So I'm missing the whetstone, primarily. So it might be a bit of a stretch goal to get that right now, as it is. Let's actually put the whetstone away. I do have 59 paper. So with the paper, I can also go up to the research bench and just say, hey, give me something random. And it gave me the Merciless Copper Mace. By chance. And that is similar, I need more whetstone for. So I can head over to the Bandit Armory where we were farming whetstone to get some more whetstone if you guys want. And that actually might coincide perfectly with Hunt a New V-Blood because there's a V-Blood there. When I was there, I saw a boss. Alright, and then the other thing we got was the gloves. So let's see if we can't make these Shadewalker gloves. So the Shadewalker gloves are 4 leather, 4 thread, and 8 copper ingots, which seem quite more affordable than the upgraded weapon. And that would give me an 8% movement speed bonus, so let's focus on that. Perfect, got it. Okay, so we have 2 pieces of the set, and our gear level is 29. You guys want me to hunt a V-Blood, so let's figure out what V-Blood. The armorer is close. He's southwest nearby, so let's hunt him. And one of the big benefits there is he gives us the ability to make whetstones. Kind of a big deal, considering the bottleneck for us to improve our gear seems to be whetstones. And one might assume that Grayson the Armorer is in the armory. So let's head over to the armory. Turtle Sandwich, thank you for the resub. It's also probably a good idea to take the Brew of Ferocity. I didn't mean to take these hearts with me. Oops. Helps if I don't put my weapon away during a fight. And with our higher level gear, these groups are going to be a little bit easier. I'm also 40% out of blood, or 60% out of blood, I should say. So I should be looking for a new blood source as well. So if any of these enemies have decent blood quality, switching up would be a good idea. Definitely had a lot of whetstones while we're here too. If you're wondering about these armor, this is part of this boss where we become invulnerable wearing the armor, but we also can't like attack anything. Rude. Another thing we're looking for is amethyst, if we can find it. Oh! I also just picked up my first stone. So this Craven Stone here modifies my Shadow Bolt. Explodes on hit, dealing 30%, inflicting leech on nearby enemies. So if I go to my Shadow Bolt and I right-click the Craven Stone, I can modify my Shadow Bolt ability to gain extra modifiers. So this is like an explosive AoE bolt, which is great, because I have been using my Shadow Bolt a lot, so now the Shadow Bolt just got stronger. And there you can see that AoE effect after killing him was a result of the Craven Stone being installed in the Shadow Bolt ability. And the ability modifiers are amazing. So here we go. Hi, Grayson.
I don't know who you are, but you walked into the wrong camp.
So this fight's an interesting one. Where he puts caltrops all over the floor, which immobilizes you. And one way to deal with that is to grab the armor and just like step on the caltrops to remove their trapping, and then get back to the fight.
Hammer you out! I've got the tool for the job! Hammer you out! I've got the tool for the job!
Oh god, they're everywhere. So many caltrops. I want his caltrop-proof boots that he wears.
You can't stop me! Hammer you out!
Come on, hammer me, dude.
Hammer you out. Hammer you out.
Well, he did.
Just
Sorry, Grayson.
one
Time for you to
more
die.
swing.
New knowledge acquired.
So, blueprints for simple carpets, blueprints for marauder boots, a sinful bone chime, which is a modifier for a spell I don't even have. Thank you for tuning in to V Rising, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow vampires.